Good morning, everyone. This is Tony Butler with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. I'm one of the life sales directors here. And today we have John Entingh, who's one of our top producers. We're going to be discussing NGL today. John, good morning.
Good morning.
Glad to have you with us on this fine Monday morning. I hope everybody's staying safe. Before we get started, wanted to just kind of go over a few items here real quick, and then we'll get things started. First and foremost, um, referrals is a big business, or excuse me, referrals is big in the insurance business if you're an agent, as well if you're an IMO. So what we like to do is reward those agents that refer other agents to IAMS. And if those agents do get appointed with any of the carriers that we represent, we do provide you, the referring agent, a $50 referral bonus. And then any subsequent business that that agent submits, we do give you a bonus of 20 basis points. Um, if you have any questions regarding our IAMS Business Builders, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We also have a new Producers Builders a bonus for new agents. And when I say new agents, agents that get appointed in the first 180 days of you being appointed, we have several levels here available to you based on the premium that is submitted. As you see, we have the 100,000, 250,000, 500, 750,000, and $1 million level. So there are different things like mailers, trips. So if you have any questions regarding our new Producers Builders, please reach out to one of the sales directors, and we'd be more than happy to discuss the details of that with you. We also offer back office support for you. We like to say we like to help you work smarter, not harder. One of the big things that we do here at IAMS is offer paperless contracting. So if you've ever filled out appointment paperwork in the past, you know that that can be some time painstaking moments for you. So we do give you the ability to submit contracting paperless. Makes it a lot easier, a lot smoother, a lot quicker to get that submitted to the carriers. We also offer different business building tools. We help you with case design. So just know that we work with you all the way from submissions to commissions. Also, with the current environment that we have with current pandemic, COVID-19, agents are finding it difficult to get in front of clients. So we like to let you know that there are avenues as far as submitting applications, and we have a couple avenues for you here. One is Firelight, and Firelight allows you to do electronic applications. If you haven't registered, give us a call. We can walk you through getting registered for Firelight. You can get to that through our website. On the left here, you'll see the carriers that are available. We have right now, and then coming soon here on the right. So this is one of two avenues that you can utilize to submit electronic applications. We also have a creative marketing solutions department. That department does help whether it's turnkey agency or digital solutions. So if you need ready to print, customize handouts or flyers for your agency, you're looking to get a logo or redesign your logo, or if you're looking to get in the digital marketing space, they can help out with that. And the second avenue, as far as submitting electronic applications, you can go right through the IAMS website and use our iGo eApp application process. Our website is a 24/7 website. As you see here, it's www.iamsinc.com. We've got excellent sales tools available for you. You can, if you're a life agent, do term quotes as well as universal life quotes. If you need annuity information, we do have current annuity news, long-term care product grids available. Now, if you are a producing agent and you're writing business, we do have a link on our website that provides updated information as far as underwriting guidelines based on the COVID-19 pandemic. And those guidelines are updated regularly. So if you have any questions as far as if you have a client that could qualify for life insurance, that is an excellent resource. We do provide a retirement analyzer for agents as well. and we do offer that on a 30-day free trial basis. And that retirement analyzer helps you answer questions from your clients such as, can I continue my present standard of living into my retirement years? When can I retire without running out of money? And how would it affect my family if I were to die prematurely? Again, we do offer this on a 30-day trial basis. It is free for those agents that have at least 250,000 in annuity production or 250,000 in single premium life production. So if you have questions or you'd like additional information on the retirement analyzer, please give us a call. One of our sales directors would be more than happy to help you with that. We also have a wealth management team, and that wealth management team is there to help you increase your revenue, improve client retention, and strengthen client relationships. And we're talking about those clients that have a higher net worth, um, have more investment assets. So give Charles Jr. a call, and his team would be more than happy to discuss what they can do for you on that front. Just have a few more slides here. We also, if you're familiar with IAMS, we do a Life and Annuity Academy, usually around about once a quarter. We did have one scheduled for May, but unfortunately we had to cancel that. The Life and Annuity Academy is a 2-day training. What we like to do is talk about sales ideas and concepts. A lot of times we will partner with one of our top carriers and discuss their products. It is something that we pay for, so we pay for your travel and your lodging. If you'd like to get more information on our Life and Annuity Academy, I do have a polling question here for that. Unfortunately, don't have information as far as when the next one is, but we can definitely get that information out to you once we do know. I'm going to launch that polling question here real quick. And if you could respond to that, we'll make sure to get that information out to you. I'll leave this up here for a few more seconds. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that down. Just a couple more slides here. Lastly, we do have a couple of trips on the docket. The first one is the IAMS Entingh 2020 Marketing Summit. That is scheduled for August 26th through the 29th of 2020, so that's this August. As of right now, that is still scheduled. Invitation period is July 1st of 2019 through June 30th of 2020. If you need additional details on this, or if you want to know if you have qualified or how close you are to qualifying, please give us a call. We can give you more information on that. We also have a couple of trips scheduled in 2021. The first is the IAMS Marketing Summit, which is March 7th through the 11th. Qualification period is July 1st of 2019 through December 31st of 2020. Requirements are 3.5 million points. And then we also have the IAMS Elite Summit, which is March 11th through the 14th of 2021. Qualification periods are the same time frame. Minimum qualifications for this trip is 6.5 million points. Instant qualifications of 8.5 million points get you both trips. Again, if you have questions regarding that, please give us a call. We'd be more than happy to discuss the details with you on that. And with that, John, I'm going to switch this over to you.
Perfect.
All right, you should have it now.
And I am good. All right. Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for attending this webinar this morning. Excited to talk to you about the National Guardian Life product and how we use that in our business. So we'll move right along here today. We're going to talk about the opportunity that exists with this product. We'll talk about the trust that we use to hold the funds. We'll talk about the product itself. I'll give you some presentation ideas and tools today, and then we'll talk about National Guardian Life and what that company brings to the table for you. So the opportunity is pretty big. Just a little backstory on me. I knew nothing about National Guardian Life 14 years ago. I had a mentor of mine that brought it to me, and explained it to me and said, hey, you need to start talking to your clients about this. That was 14 years ago. I took that opportunity and ran with it. We produce every year for National Guardian Life. And then I've been able to learn it well enough to share it with agents in the field. And so what I'd like to do is just kind of give you the ability to talk intelligently about this product with your current client base. So we all know we're in the planning business, not a big secret there. But we know we can't just let things happen either. We have to consider our options. We have to look at the plan to help solve the problem. And then we have to find out where we get the funds from in order to be able to help our clients. So funeral and final expenses aren't going to be any different when we're talking about that. Somebody's going to need to determine the services and pay the bill. The question really becomes who's going to do it and when are they going to do it. So there are a couple options to that. The deceased can do it prior to death. They can get their affairs in order and make it easy on the family, or it can be left to the survivors afterward to have to handle. And that's kind of where my story comes in on this. I'm just a little backstory on me. I'm the youngest of 5 kids. My mom and dad divorced when I was 2. Wasn't really close with my father, but I've always been kind of the entrepreneur of the family. So anytime anything goes wrong or goes good, usually my phone's ringing from one of my siblings. But what happened was I got a phone call on January 21st of 2011 that my dad had passed away. And I found myself sitting in a funeral director's office that next day, and I was getting hit with questions like, what's your dad's mother's maiden name? What was his highest rank in the military? His favorite flower, his favorite hymn? I didn't know the answer to any of these questions. But what I did realize at that particular moment was everything I had been doing for my clients up to that point, I had made that easier for them. They weren't in the situation I was in. And National Guardian Life allows you to get that plan in place and also get some documentation that can be given to the funeral director to take that burden off of the survivors. And with National Guardian Life, they have a couple different ways that people can get their planning done. They can do the pre-need, which is where they plan and pay for the funeral at a funeral home, or they can work through us, and that is where they're just going to set aside funds to pay for their anticipated final expenses, and we can help them do that. The key question is you need to ask your clients how much they think a funeral costs these days. Then you're going to hear questions all over answers all over the board. You may have people who want to be cremated and they think it's $2,000, all the way up to people that want a full-blown funeral that can be anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 now. So what we do is we ask the clients, if something happened to you yesterday, how would your family be paying for your funeral today? And that's a thought-provoking question. And you'll get some really good answers by asking that question of your client, and then really listen carefully to what they're telling you, because you're going to be able to share with them a better way to do it than what they're currently doing, and hopefully protect some of their assets. Now, I talked in my first slide that the opportunity is huge. They did a national survey. 72% thought it was a good idea to pre-plan, but 64% had not taken any steps to do so. And one thing I know is that your clients aren't any different. And I think the reason for that is rarely does a husband and wife wake up and look at each other on a beautiful day and say, hey, let's go down and pick out our caskets today. It just doesn't happen that way. So this is where we as advisors need to talk them through this so that they understand that there is a way to get it done, and they don't have to go down to that funeral home if they don't want to. You're in a great position with this product. Actually, if you're in this marketplace at all, serving the senior market, you are just in a wonderful spot, because we know that year after year that these people are aging into our marketplace, and by 2025 there's going to be twice as many seniors as there are today. So if you could really hone in on this and get good at it, it's not like you're not going to have plenty of people to talk to about it. So when we start the conversation with our clients, we like to talk to them a little bit about long-term care. And this will open the door to this sale because everyone knows 69% of all Americans older than 65 are going to need some type of nursing care. And when we look at the national average cost of that, it's very expensive, and the annual growth is at about 4% as far as the cost going up every year. So when we ask them that, we know that with most clients, they don't have any type of long-term care protection. I think the number is 93% of all Americans have done nothing to protect their assets from a nursing home spend down. So when we talk to them, we'll ask them if they have any long-term care insurance. Typically they don't. And then we'll explain to them that if they go into a nursing home, that they're going to make them spend down their assets in order to qualify for Medicaid. And that's kind of where we'll be able to come in, because we can show them some solutions to be able to protect their assets from that nursing home spend down. So how does it all fit together? We're just taking financial protection of life insurance and we're blending it with an irrevocable funeral trust. We're going to tell the clients all they're really doing is just setting aside those funds today for their final expenses. And then by using that trust to hold the funds, we're effectively spending down that asset and protecting it from the nursing home. So the trusts themselves are provided by National Guardian Life. They're going to give protection from creditors. The benefits are going to pay out 100% income tax free. The funds will be available immediately. I'm going to walk you through that here in a couple minutes. The trusts are absolutely free, and the reason this is important is I work with an elder law attorney down the street from me that'll send me referrals from time to time, and he does irrevocable trust. And if you go into his office to do an irrevocable trust, I don't care what level of planning you're trying to do, you need to bring him a check in for $7,500 to get the party started, and then from that point, you know, those costs will go wherever they need to go for him to get your plan completed. And that's one of the nice things with National Guardian Life. Those trusts are free in order to hold the asset for the client. Everybody's going to qualify for the trust assignment. The death proceeds will be used for those funeral expenses. We're going to avoid the probate costs and delays. And the last thing there is funds are totally portable. You know, most clients don't realize if you go prepay at a funeral home and then you move to Florida, you could have some issues. If I live here in Ohio, I prepay at a funeral home, then my kids and grandkids move to Florida, and I move with them and decide that's where now my final resting place is going to be. There could be an issue between me and the funeral home I prepaid for here in Ohio. So with this plan, doesn't matter where you're at, you're not naming a funeral home, you're simply setting aside those funds to know that they're going to be there and make it easy on your family when you pass away, or as easy as that could possibly look. So how do the trusts compare against traditional savings instruments? You can take a look there. Every column that we're looking to hit a yes in, you can see we're doing that with the irrevocable funeral trust. So I'm not going to read you everything on there, but you can see that the irrevocable funeral trust is right in line with what we're trying to get accomplished for the client that we're working with. So how does the trust work? It's really pretty simple in its form. Is what we're going to do is we're going to talk to the client about putting money away permanently to take care of their final expenses. Wherever that money comes from, we are going to put that money into the AssetGuard plan. It's a single premium life if you think about it that way. The difference would be if we give them $15,000, we're not getting $25,000 in death benefit. We're probably going to start at about $15,500 day one, and then what's going to happen is that policy is going to earn interest once we assign it excuse me, to the irrevocable funeral trust, and that interest is just going to stay in there and grow, and when the time of need comes, the interest will pay out tax-free along with the death benefit. And then what will happen is that money will get sent to the funeral provider and it's paid within 48 hours. Now, we've done a lot of these plans. Obviously, we've had a lot of clients pass away. I've been through this process. It's literally as simple as the client calling you, telling you the family member has passed away. You call National Guardian Life. You tell National Guardian Life the name of the funeral provider, the fax number for the funeral provider, and then you're out of the program. National Guardian Life will deal directly with the funeral home, and they'll get those monies to them within 48 hours of claim. Now you'll see there that any excess funds need to be paid to the estate. I'm going to talk to you why that is here in just a minute. We'll address that. So there are two different trusts offered by National Guardian Life. One of them is the Funeral Expense Trust. You can put up to $15,000 a year. That does vary by city and state. I'll show you a sheet of the state limits here in a few minutes. I see we have a lot of people on here, probably from all over the place. So I'll get you your state limits. It gives you the ability to exclude the asset in order to qualify for Medicaid and SSI when applying immediately. And then the trust is going to pay those funeral costs, and any excess of the funds are going to go to the estate of the insured. So that's one. On the other one, the estate planning trust, you can put up to $100,000 into this, and this is per person. So it gives you the ability to exclude the assets in order to qualify for Medicaid after a 5-year look back. So there's your difference between the two trusts. The funeral expense trust, while it's a lower amount you can put in, excludes the money immediately. The NGL estate planning trust has a 5-year look back. The difference is with the estate planning trust, any excess funds will be returned to the designated beneficiary or the insured's estate. On this plan, you would want to have a beneficiary because it will pay directly to the beneficiary. So I get this question a lot. When do I use which plan? Well, the funeral expense trust, it's a real good crisis planning tool. Again, I'll use that elder law attorney that sends me referrals. He may call me and say, hey, John, I'm working with a client. We're going to apply for Medicaid on June 1. I need to get $30,000 off the table for them immediately. Can you come down and write 2 funeral expense trust on the husband and wife? And I can do that. And rather, even if a husband is in the funeral home, in the nursing home, I can still do an application for him and have the wife sign it. I don't even need to see him. And then a lot of times we do a lot of seminars, and we'll have new clients where we go through a process with them to learn about them. And I'll ask them if they prepaid their funeral, and if they tell me no, I'll explain how they can do that. And these clients just want to put money away, know that the money's protected today, and know that this part of their planning is done and they don't have to deal with it again. On the estate planning trust, maybe Medicaid is a non-issue now or 5 years from now, or maybe never. Maybe they're perfectly healthy people who do have a concern, though, that if they would get ill and go to a nursing home, that your kids or their heirs might lose the money. Well, this way we can put up to $100,000 in this plan for them, and at the end of 5 years, that money is 100% protected from a nursing home. So you have that, and then a lot of times we just are trying to transfer a limited amount of wealth to children or charities or wherever, trying to get the money. And this is the real opportunity. You can pick up some pretty big deals in the estate planning trust if you explain it correctly to your client. So talk a little bit about the product we use to fund it. It's called the NGL AssetGuard, and it's really just a fixed rate life product that we're going to give to them, and then we're going to use that funeral trust to protect the money from a Medicaid spend down. Now, every state is going to have a different limitation, so let me kind of give you my thinking on this. I live in Ohio, so if you look on here and we go to Ohio, you can see I can put $15,000 into a funeral trust or $100,000 into the estate planning trust. So if I had a client that came in and said, hey, we just want to take care of our final expenses, I may just do $15,000 on the husband and wife into the funeral trust. But a lot of times they'll say, well, we've already taken care of, we prepaid our funeral. And then my question to them would be, well, do you have any assets that you would like to know for sure are going to go to your beneficiaries and will not be taken from a nursing home spend down? And if they say yes, then I'm going to point them over here towards the estate planning trust. But what if I live in, we'll use Nebraska because that's where IAMS is located at. And if I live in Nebraska, I can only put $4,916 into the funeral trust, but my funeral is going to cost me $15,000, and I know that. At this point, I'll tell the client, well, hey, let's fully fund the 4916 protected day one, and then let's take that difference and let's put that in the estate planning trust. Yes, it has a 5-year look back period on it, but we all know how quick time flies, and at least we've got a chance of getting that part of the money protected for you as well. If I lived in Florida and I couldn't offer it at all, then I'm going to tell the client the same story. Let's put the whole $15,000 in the estate planning trust and at least get the clock ticking on it. We're going to accomplish the same thing. It's just we have to deal with different parameters why we do it. So here's all the expenses that are paid by an irrevocable funeral trust. So you can see on there just about everything that you're going to need to take care of in a funeral, even down here to the transfer of the deceased. You can pay for those items out of these funds through the trust. So today, for time's sake, I'm just going to talk about the single pay. And I'll be quite frank with you. This is all we do at Entingh Financial Services is the single pay. We have a minimum face amount of $500, a maximum face amount of $100,000. These growth rates, I had that updated. I don't know why that didn't catch in there, but the growth rate right now on the NGL AssetGuard is 0.5%. And on the estate planning trust is 1%. Now you might hear that and say, wow, who's going to put their money in at 0.5% or 1%? Remember, this isn't about growth. If you want growth, obviously you're in the wrong spot. You're talking about money people may want to access at some point in the future. This is an irrevocable plan. We're putting the money in there to leave it in there for when that person passes. So it's not really about the growth. It's about the protection of the asset, and you need to kind of hammer that home with your client. There is one health question on the application. It's a yes or no. Doesn't matter how you answer it. Everybody's going to qualify for the plan. And then on the single pay, we can write it from ages 0 to 99. So the nice thing about that question on here is it's a standard question. If you answer no to it, they're going to give you a standard issue. If you answer yes to it, they're going to give you a guaranteed issue. But one thing is for sure, you're going to get the plan issued. And they're all going to increase daily with simple growth, and the single pay are an immediate full death benefit payout. So it couldn't be easier to do either. It's basically 2 pieces of paper and you're done. I like to share this story, and if you've been on one of my webinars, you've heard it before. But when I wrote my very first annuity back in 1993, I wrote it on a guy who owned a dry cleaner in Marion, Ohio. 2 things happened that day. Number one, it was my very first sale and I couldn't believe it. And number 2, I couldn't believe somebody was going to let me walk away with a $25,000 check. At that point in my career, biggest check I'd ever seen. But what was amazing was it was literally 3 pieces of paper to get the application done for the guy, and the last page was his receipt. So if you think about where we're at today with the amount of paperwork, whether you're writing an annuity, a life app, long-term care, doesn't matter. There is a lot of paperwork involved. So if you don't like paperwork, you will like doing business with National Guardian Life. And when we look at it, here's the top part of their application. So it's just going to be all your basic information. We're going to mark single pay. We're going to put the premium we send into them. Here's our statement of health. So there's your health question. They're just looking for the big boys here. Yes or no, doesn't matter. We're still going to get the plan issue. Where you're going to see the difference is going to be in your commission. At the bottom, we're going to have the client sign. We're going to sign off on it. Here's a receipt if they give us cash with app. And then we're going to have to use the irrevocable assignment of ownership form. So make sure if you're doing one of these, you're using the right form. It's either going to be the funeral expense trust or the estate planning trust. But one of those forms will be needed with this packet. And then at the bottom, I was telling you about the elder law attorney. If you run into a case where somebody is trying to qualify for Medicaid and they need to get that money out of there today, you can sign this form, or the client can, and they can waive the 45-day waiting period until their policy goes into the trust. So once the life policy is issued, typically 45 days later, it's assigned to the trust. But if you have people who are trying to get planning done, we can waive the 45 days and get that money put into the trust on issue. So one of the things that National Guardian Life has came out with is their voice signature option. Now I'm just going to run through this with you. Your client can sign an application over the phone. There is a recorded message available 24/7, so we can make the phone call with the client at any time. And it is a simple 3-step process. Step 1, we're going to call the number with the client on the line. You're going to put in your NGL agent number followed by the #, and then we're going to enter the client's phone number, including area code, and we're going to follow that by the #. You're going to hear a brief recorded message to sign the application. Your client's simply going to say, "I agree," and then they're going to follow up that with their name. Then what you're going to do is you're going to write down that confirmation number given to you on that case, and then you're going to write that number on the top of the application pages. So once you've completely filled out the application, you're going to place the code on the signature line and then date the form. So down where they're supposed to sign, you'll simply put that code and then you'll put that date on there. You'll enter that confirmation number on all forms that require an insured signature and date, including the application, the premium withdrawal, the trust form, your state replacement form, and then simply fax that completed paperwork to NGL, or you can scan it in and upload it as a PDF on myglic.com. So one thing I would say to you is, you can also, if you're going to do cash, give you an example, say they have $15,000 in savings or checking that they've told you that's to be used for my final expenses, you can actually do a direct withdrawal into the plan with NGL. And that payment will come out the day the application is processed. If you get someone who's wiggy on it, you get everything done and they're just like, we're not going to move forward in the process, just contact NGL immediately. They are going to request a signed form from the client saying that they want to discontinue the issuance of the policy. If you did have any funds withdrawn, they can have the funds refunded as needed. Again, you don't have to do a direct withdrawal. You can have the client send you a check if they're more comfortable with that. Most policies are going to be mailed out in about 10 days after issue. Make sure you include that replacement paperwork. And then I'd highly recommend, I'm giving you a high level overview here, but go watch the training video at myglic.com once you're licensed, and they'll walk you through any other questions that you might have about it. So here becomes really where the rubber meets the road, and I get this from a lot of advisors that I talk to. How do you present it to clients? And so when we're talking about presenting it to clients, especially think about where we're at right now with the COVID-19 and not being able really to be as engaged face-to-face as we normally might be. How nice would it be to do a phone review with a client, tell them that, hey, you know what, I've discovered something that we've been sharing with all of our clients. I want to find out if you have this issue taken care of or not. Have you prepaid your funeral? Well, when you ask them that, they're going to give you an answer, and the answer is going to be yes or no. If they tell you yet they haven't done it, then you're going to start stressing those benefits of planning ahead. I had an advisor say, "Man, John, I wish I had your story about your dad." And then he said, "Well, I don't mean it that way." And I said, I understand what you mean, a story to motivate people. And I said, well, it's not your story about my dad, but we're friends. Just tell them that you want to share with them a story of a friend of theirs and use me. Because I can tell you from sitting in that chair with the funeral director and not knowing the answer to questions, it's not a position that you want to be in, or your client's family. Stress to them, it can be used with any funeral home. You know, if you go prepay with your local funeral home, if that funeral home goes out of business, if they're misappropriating the money, if they sell the business, if the next generation runs it into the ground, at least you know your money's being held with a top insurance carrier, and that money will be there when your family needs it. And then again, 1035 exchange existing life insurance. I can't tell you how much premium we have written through our business talking to people about old life insurance policies. So if I were talking to somebody, I'd say, hey, do you own any of those old paid up life insurance policies? Well, yeah, we own some of those. Well, why don't we call the companies and why don't we ask them two questions? What is my cash value and what is my death benefit? Most of your clients don't understand that they don't get both of those numbers when they pass away. As an example, you'll find policies out there that have been paying dividends and they have a $10,000 cash value and a $12,000 face amount. Well, the reality is the client has $2,000 of life insurance because that 10 in there is their money. So you might say to that client, yeah, we can leave that $10,000 a year in there of yours in there, and if you die, we get 12. Or if you get sick and go to a nursing home, they're going to make you spend the 10. So why don't we take the 10, 1035 exchange it over into the funeral trust, protect that money from the nursing home, and know it's going to be there for what your intended use is for your final expenses. If you can get into that conversation, maybe some old ULs that are blowing up and they're just trying to save the cash value, what's left in there, a lot of different ways you can use the 1035 exchange. And then again, we get paid for closing the deals. And this will give your client that peace of mind of knowing they've planned ahead and that the funds are protected. If you're doing the annual review, you're presenting this, and then when you go to close the sale, remember now with NGL, you can do the voice option. So where do you find the money? Start with this question. Have you prepaid your funeral? And if they say no, then ask the next question. If you were to have passed away yesterday, where would your family be getting the money today to pay for that? Here's your answers. I've had many clients say, well, my daughter knows I have a $15,000 CD over at the bank, and that's to take care of my funeral. Well, Mrs. Jones, that's wonderful. And if you don't go into a nursing home and they don't make you spend that money in your CD, that plan will work out perfectly. But if you do get sick and you do need to go into the nursing home, they're going to make you spend it. Why don't we move it over here, protect it, and have it there for what your intended use is at the end of the day? Annuities, I think the study says 92% of all annuities pass to the beneficiary. Why not take 10% penalty-free withdrawals out? Why not go ahead and pay taxes on those dollars? Why taxes are on sale right now with our lower tax rates, and get that money protected for the client and over into the plan. So again, when I'm talking to a client, I don't have any problem telling them that, hey, you know what, Mrs. Jones, if you really think about it, we're really not even buying anything today. We're just taking money that we already have in our left pocket that we know we're designated for our final expenses, and we're going to move it over to our right pocket to still pay for our final expenses, but get the protection that we need and deserve on the money. So at National Guardian Life, they've got some great brochures. They've changed the look of them, but they're still the same brochure. We use the two here, the NGL Funeral Expense Trust and the Estate Planning Trust. These are very simple to understand trifolds. And the reason I know that, I had a client I worked with, I went in and presented them, it was about an $80,000 1035 exchange. I went through the program with her. She said, hey, this sounds really great, but you know how we do business. We don't make any decisions today. We like to sleep on it. These were clients I already had annuities with. And I said, yeah, and I understand that. And you understand the way I do business. I don't have any problem with somebody sleeping on it, but you need to make the decision while it's fresh on your mind. So I'm going to call you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I want you to sleep on it, read this trifold brochure, and then let's make a decision. 9 o'clock that next morning, my phone rang. It was them. They said, hey, we read through the brochure. It matches up with what we talked about. We feel good about it. Let's move forward. And we ended up writing the deal with those clients. So here's the thing I wish I would have had when my dad passed away. It would have made my life so much simpler. Literally, I tell clients this. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, if we do your National Guardian Life policy and you take the time to fill out this planning guide for me, I could literally have never met you. I could take that policy and this guide to the funeral home, and I could take care of getting you buried. And you'll see on there that it has everything from my mother's maiden name all the way down here to the branch of the military, the highest ranking. If we go to the next page, you're going to see it ask, do you want pallbearers? Who do you want them to be? Are you a veteran? So everything that you're going to get hit with this funeral director is going to hit you with, it's already done. And I learned one thing. I had a great mentor in my career, and he always told me, whenever you write a deal, try to leave the client a task to keep them engaged while you're getting everything done. So what we do is we give them this guide and we tell them we expect it to be filled out by the time we bring their contract back to them. I will tell you about 50% of the people fill it out, 50% don't, but we reiterate it when we deliver the policy, and we tell them this planning guide is no good without ink on it. So we do get them moving forward to fill it out, and they need to do that for their family. So National Guardian Life, again, I am in the field every day. I have a couple offices here in Columbus. I'm not a home office guy. I have a financial service practice, just like many of you on the call here today. I've been doing business with NGL for 14 years, going on 15, and I'm going to tell you, it's the one insurance company I can say this about, and the only one. I've never had an issue with them doing business. Anything I've ever needed has been done and done correctly. I'm knocking on a little wood here, but I don't see that changing. They really know what they're doing. They're great at what they do, and they're focused on what they do. So again, if you like doing business with a company that's going to do what they say, hard to beat National Guardian Life. Once you're licensed through IAMS with National Guardian Life, you're going to get your code to sign into their website. On this website, this is where you can find the training video for the voice application. They have PowerPoints that you can share with the client to kind of walk them through, hey, here's where you buy the policy, where it goes into the trust, how it pays out to the funeral home. You can go on here and pull up your reports every day to see your commission statements. I will tell you, they're very effective with submission to commission. If I were to send them an app today, I do 2-day mail on everything, they would get it Wednesday. There's a 99% chance on Friday my commissions are going to be in my account. Because this policy is getting issued. You're not doing a bunch of work in hopes of getting something done. You're going to get this done. So a great website. And this number here, once you're licensed, if you're in with a client and you're new to this, you're learning it, and you have a question, if you reach out to them, you're going to get a live person and you're going to get your question answered right at the point of sale. So why sell the product? Your clients need it. They're thinking about it. The study showed us that. Great income opportunity. No fees for the trust. They're completely free. Can be used at any funeral home provider. I stress that with the clients. We're backed by a 103-year-old plus company. It's easy to do. It gives your clients peace of mind. And again, if you don't like paperwork, you'll love doing business with National Guardian Life. The next thing we'll talk about is compensation. So I just use this for an agent that's, working 10 months a year, like probably the average agent. If you just wrote $10,000 of premium on 20 couples for the year, you could easily add $40,000 to your annual bottom line. My mentor told me if I got good enough at this, I could pay my office expenses with it every year and count on it to pay my office expenses. And that's exactly the way that this is played out for us. So a great tool if you're talking about it with your clients. This is kind of the commission schedule, and I don't know why. We'll get the updated one out, but for now we'll use this one here. This here you can see a 61 to 65-year-old, perfect health, 13.31% commission. So if you set in a deal that was $20,000 from a review, you can see you're going to get paid pretty handsomely for your review. Once you're licensed, everybody will get these commission schedules sent out to them. So their next sales conference is March 14th through the 21st in 2021. They're doing a 7-night Western Caribbean cruise. I've been on their sales conference. It's always first class, top notch. And I'll say this too, whether you're going to NGL or maybe you end up making the insurance agency marketing services sales conference, I was always told when I went on these, find the top producers. They're listed somewhere. They're getting their accolades for doing a great job, but find those guys and go talk to them. Ask them how they're doing their business. I learned more doing that over the years to build my business than I did probably anywhere else, which was getting to know the top producers, building a friendship, and then being able to reach out to them to figure out how I could be like they were. So some of the biggest challenges with this, obviously getting comfortable with the concept. When I sold my first annuity back in 1993, I was nervous Nelly. I mean, today we do millions and millions and millions of dollars of annuities and we don't think twice about it. And it's not because we're great, it's just because we've done it time and time again and we're good at it now. Learning how to present, you're going to stress those benefits of pre-planning and protecting the money, and then keep it on top of your mind. Every client, every day, it's a really easy question. Have you prepaid your funeral? So what we've done here is I've teamed up with insurance agency marketing services to make this guide for beneficiaries available to anybody that gets licensed through IAMS with National Guardian Life. The reason that I did this is about 7 years ago now, I had a client whose daughter called me. We had a lot of annuity premium in the house, about $500,000, and she called and wanted me to know that mom passed away. And I was told her I was sorry to hear that. And I said, hey, after you get through the funeral and everything, we need to set up a time to go over the annuities and get this put over to you. And she said to me, oh, don't worry about it, John. I've already talked to the guy at the bank. He's handling everything for us. He said it was no problem. And I thought to myself, you know what? Shame on me. I just lost a $500,000 deal. And the reason for that is they didn't know to call me first. So what we did is we started implementing these beneficiary guides with our clients. So what we did is we went out, we gave them the guide, we collected all new data on them. So we did a full financial inventory. And so then what we did is we brought them that inventory back and we went over things that we saw. Well, we had clients that we found out they didn't tell us everything. Imagine that. And so we had a lot of successes in that. Over a 6-month period, we wrote about $1.5 million of new annuity premium, about 200,000 of single premium life traditional, and about $150,000 of National Guardian Life. And the reason for that was this guide. And all we wanted to do was make sure it was in every house and that our clients' beneficiaries knew they were to call us if something happened in that house. So as we went out and started putting in these in the houses, every single client, I mean every single client we did this with, was so appreciative because inside this, and I'm not going to show you these sheets, but there is literally a guide in there on everything the beneficiary needs to do, down to pre-written letters to credit card companies, pension services, Social Security, to make it easy on the beneficiaries. And in that documentation, it says in there, please set up an appointment with John at Entingh Financial Services to review everything. So it's a great tool. This is a letter that we put out there. You would just, all this is duplicatable for you with your company information, but we just let them know that we appreciate their business. We've assembled a team of professionals that have a vast wealth of experience, integrity, and commitment to ensure our clients and their beneficiaries save every possible tax, court, cost, and fee when settling their estate. So the clients really appreciated it. They let the kids know, but this was really the magic. We updated all this information with our clients, and as we went through, again, they were telling us about, we had an old 401k over here that we forgot about, and things like that that led to new business for us. And if you look at this, have you prepaid your funeral over here? Question 8. If they say yes, then we say, do you have any money that you'd like protected from a nursing home that you know you're probably not going to need for income or any expenses in the future? If they say they haven't prepaid it, then we're marking no, and then we're going to circle back around the wagons and show them how just to reposition an asset and get that taken care of. So again, this is just the end of the document. We have a little organizer back there for questions. And on that note, speaking of questions, that'll conclude this for me. I appreciate everybody's attention. Tony, if anybody has any questions on here that I can answer today, I'd be happy to do it for them.
Okay, let me get this switch back over to me. this. Oh, hang on. All right. So do you see my screen?
I do.
Okay. So looks like got a question here. All right. It's kind of lengthy, so bear with me here.
Okay.
Okay. I already own life insurance or CDs or money market accounts. Why would I want the state trust? All assets would be subject to 5-year look back. I guess that's
So
the rebuttal. Or
that is, so I'm sorry, is that the end of the question, Tony?
yeah, that's the end of the question.
Okay, so it's a real simple answer. Yes, that is true. You will have the 5-year look back. But I'm also going to tell you this, if you're a 75-year-old person and you leave your money over in the CDs and money market, and 5 years goes by and you get sick and go in a nursing home, that money is still sitting there. It's there for the vultures at the nursing home. If you use it and implement it over into this side of the plan using the estate planning trust, yes, it's a 5-year look back, but that 5 years will go by and that money will be protected. With the money in the savings and money market, I don't care how many years go by, you're never going to be protected.
All right. Question number 2. Which is available in Florida?
The state planning trust. That's the 100,000 limit.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Just waiting to see. And in the meantime, a couple additional polling questions that I have. If you'd like to get more information on National Guardian Life, I've got a polling question. I also see another question pop up. Let me do this polling question here real quick. So if you needed additional information in regards to our webinar today, please respond to this polling question. Make sure to get information out to you. I'll leave this up here for a little bit. Looks like we have a few people responding. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take this down. All right. Is there a quote sheet for premium and amount of coverage? I'm assuming they're talking like, with final expense, how they have face amounts and premiums. You know what I'm referring to, John?
Yeah, this is really just a single premium. Again, like I said, it's not like a traditional single premium life because we don't want any cash in there. So, again, it's irrevocable and it's just pick an amount that client feels is comfortable amount for those final expenses and put that amount in there and then let it grow, inside the funeral trust. And again, not a lot of growth, but this is more about protecting the asset.
And also, if the agent is appointed, they can run quotes themselves off of the website. It's very user friendly.
Yes, yes. Great website, Tony. Good point.
All right. And do you write 2 life policies for the husband and the wife for 2 trusts, or just 1 trust for both?
So you're not doing it. So just to clear that up, you could write one plan on both. Let's say it's a husband and wife. You put up 15,000 on her, 15,000 on him. You don't need to do anything with the trust. After 45 days, they'll put those 2 plans into the trust. And the one thing I guess if I have more questions, fine, but I want to make sure I hit on this, Tony.
Sure.
This is an irrevocable trust. It is to put money aside for the future. So you need to make sure you say to your client, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you understand this is irrevocable. It doesn't come out of here till you pass away. Don't call me to borrow on it. cash it in. You can't do any of those things. And if you preface it like that, and we've written, I don't know how many plans, but a bunch, we have never once had a client ever call and ask us to take money out of the plan because they know it's irrevocable and it comes out at death.
Okay, last question.
Sure.
What percentage of your sales are 1035s?
Oh, that's a great question. We don't really track the percentages, but I would say probably, yeah, I'd say probably 30% would be a good number. That's not an exact, but I would say I would expect 3 out of every 10 sales were 1035. And
Okay. All right, last polling question here. If you're looking to get appointed with National Guardian Life, I do have a polling question here. Please respond. I'll make sure to get that taken care of for you. I'll leave this up for a few more seconds. Looks like we've got quite a few people responding, which is always good, John.
yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And with that, if you have any additional questions, you can reach out to me or Reed, who is also one of our life sales directors. His email address is reed@iamsinc.com, or Jess Riley. His email address is jess@iamsinc.com. And as you see my name here, and my email address is tony@iamsinc.com. Or you can always call the 800 number, 800-255-5055, and any one of us would be able to help you out there. So, John, you have any closing words or thoughts?
Well, you know, it's a tough environment we're in right now with the COVID, and this too shall pass at some point in the future. But we're just kind of taking the viewpoint of sharpening our skills, taking advantage of these phone applications and digital applications, and just keep serving the people. Even a small phone call means the world to people right now. So take advantage of that.
Okay. All right. Hey, John, did you see that contracting question pop up? I've got somebody that didn't see it. Did you happen to see that up on the screen?
I did not.
Okay. So for the individual that it didn't work for you, I'll make sure to reach out to you on that. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody for attending. You guys stay safe. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.
Thanks, Tony.
Bye.
Bye.